to start a new recording. Here we go. So welcome. If you're just joining us, this is another live dev session with GM Phuc. Today we're going to fix the item restrictions table, and we're also going to test Cthulhu out a little bit before we start buffing it in the next stream. Okay, so what we're going to do today, for those of you who like Python programming, I'm going to do a bit of Python today, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically scan through all the mob drop tables, and then I'm going to redo the item restrictions table. And basically what's going to happen is any item that is dropped by a mob that naturally spawns, right, any of those items should be removed from the item restrictions table. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. But last stream, I fixed the Cthulhu sprite and I buffed Stormy. So let's kill two birds with one stone. Well, actually, one of the birds will die. So let's have a death match, right? So I buffed Cthulhu a little bit already, but I want to test to see how strong it is. Now, in theory, Cthulhu needs to be much stronger than Stormy Knight, but I don't think that's the case right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them fight to the death, and I'm gonna see if anyone online wants to take bets. Okay, so let's see, before the death match starts, does anyone want to bet Cthulhu versus Stormy? Okay, so let's put that in the chats. Let's propagate that all the way through. Alright, Cthulhu versus Stormy, and then let's see if we can do okay, so, and then also in the live server, broadcast. Okay, so Cthulhu. Let's see what they're reading right now in the town. So in town, this is really small chat, but hopefully you guys can be able to see it. So what are they saying? Let's see if I can open up my magnifying glass. Okay, okay, there we go. So let's see if my bet is on Stormy Knight. Okay, that's good. Now, what are we doing? So my favorite MVP is Cthulhu. Yep, it's a lot of people's favorite MVPs actually. So we brought back Lucifer, but then we made Enhanced Shackles. We made Bloody Shackle Ball, but Cthulhu is still missing from that. Okay, so my bet's on Stormy Knight, and no, yep, I'm in Geffen. So I'm this tentacle monster right now. That's me. I'm disguised in a tentacle costume. Okay, let's see, and Cthulhu does look awesome indeed. All right. So Cthulhu versus Abyssal Knight, who would win? My bet is on Stormy, and my bet is also going to be on Stormy. I suspect Stormy, because last time I think we buffed Stormy's int to like 324 or something ridiculous or stupid like that. I think I might have gone a little overboard, so I might have to redo that a little bit. Maybe reduce its intelligence down to 290 or so. Because right now it is my GM character with like 10,000 stats is still getting like one-shotted by Stormy. I'm kind of okay with that, because like if you're walking up to a Stormy Knight, you don't have wind armor or wind resistance or cold resist or cold or water armor, then you should deserve to die in one shot. I mean, yesterday I put on my wind armor and everything was fine. Okay, all right, so let's turn off this magnifier. All right, so again, I'm gonna see, for those of you who missed it in the stream, I summoned an Abysmal Knight just to see where Cthulhu is on this tier list. So here's an Abysmal Knight. My Cthulhu's just auto-attacking, so it doesn't look like it has any skills yet. Alright, so now let's actually spawn the Stormy Knight. So monster info of Stormy Knight. So monster, and then what we're gonna do is 1251 is the monster ID. Alright, so what we're gonna do is let's spawn the Stormy Knight now and see what happens. And then I'm gonna turn on, oh wow, so Cthulhu is, you know, that was a 38k. What was that 38k? Whoa, that's a lot of things happening. What's going on? Alright, so it looks like the goblins are coming at it. The goblins are spamming Cold Bolt and Lightning Bolt. Stormy Knight is spamming the shield bash on me right now, so that's why I'm getting knocked back right now. So if you don't wear a strong shield against Stormy, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay, so they might be at it for a while because they're like this guy's got 28 million HP and this guy's got 20 million HP, so they're gonna be at it for quite some time. So look at that. Look at that lightning bolt. 37k lightning bolt to a Cthulhu. How many stats does Cthulhu have? Let's take a look at this. Let's go back up here into the Cthulhu set. Cthulhu has only 25 magic defense. That's why that stuff is hurting so much. But that's crazy. Look at that. 38k. Alright, so boom, Ice Crasher. Alright, so Stormy Knight is just shield bashing that Cthulhu. I don't think Cthulhu is boss type right now, because look, I think it's getting knocked back. Now those goblins are pretty deadly looking right now. Look at that Ice Crasher coming down. Wow. Okay, so the looks like Cthulhu has no skills right now, which is why it's only doing like a 6k auto attack and nothing else. So I think there's something wrong with the skill table right now, because I remember it does have skills. We put it in a long time ago. I don't think it's ever been enabled as of now. Okay, so man, that is a strong, whatever that is. I think that just might be the lightning bolt. 28k to 37k lightning bolt on a Cthulhu. That's a thunderstorm now. Look at that thunderstorm. That is intense. So the Storm Gust, I'm not even seeing the damage from Storm Gust. Is it doing 7k per hit for Storm Gust? Is what I think it's doing right now. Wow. Alright, let's check back in on the chat and see what's going on. Okay, handsome and powerful Stormy. Poor Abysmal. The fight is on. Yeah, let's put the Twitch back in. Stormy versus Cthulhu. Yeah, it is losing quite a bit of HP very quickly. Okay. All right. Hey Cho, what's up? All right, so Cho's one of the beta testers, so that's why he's able to be here right now. So he has an account. If you got an account on the test server, like this is where I implore you to come on. All right. Now, this is kind of an unfair fight, just because I mean, Cthulhu doesn't have any skills right now. He's supposed to be, like, Cthulhu is supposed to be earth-based and water-based. He's supposed to be water-balling. He's supposed to cast Earth Strain. That's supposed to be basically going to be like the strongest AoE spell in the game. Which is basically, if your party comes up and you don't Earth Armor, your party should just be wiped immediately. That's how strong his Earth Strain will be. He also is supposed to know Heaven's Drive, Quagmire. I think he's supposed to either break or strip some of your weapons and armor as well. But that Ice Crasher looks really cool. I haven't seen him do the Lightning Crasher yet, the Ninja skill. I did add Lightning Crasher to Stormy Knight. I haven't seen him use it yet, so that might be bugged right now. But I mean, I'm kind of okay with where Stormy is right now. He seems pretty awesome right now. And those goblins are doing nothing to him. I want to see the goblins, like, man, yeah, this Cthulhu is getting just wombo comboed right now, like. Because Cthulhu doesn't have any skills, so I think Stormy's gonna win now. So I think what we have to do is enable Cthulhu's skills in the next stream, and then re-stream this fight. Because this fight is just like unfair right now. Okay, so what if we did Stormy versus someone else? I think Mistress is a fair ask, but let's see. Isn't Stormy... Stormy is Win, so Mistress would be super ineffective against it. Because Stormy is going to be weak, or immune to that level, like, 40 Jupiter Thunder that Mistress has, which is, like, one of her main damage output. So that's not good. Okay, we still have to buff Gloomy Knight, too. I would like to see a Gloomy Knight in all of this. Okay, alright, so... Alright, we'll let these guys hang out and chill in the background while we start today's dev session. So what are we gonna be doing today? So let's start off with the handy dandy notepad. I know how much you guys love the handy dandy notepad. So the first thing we're gonna do today is before we do anything, we're gonna update all the repositories. I think that's what we need to do, because the other devs have been hard at work. And they've been installing various things that I want to get up to date with. Okay, so the last thing that happened. Oh, so it looks like what they've been doing is actually still in code review. So let's see. Enhanced shackles are now shoes, and they did some edits to the Clover and the Musketeer hat. Okay. So the last time we were here, I disabled Loki's Veil. There were some from WoW and also in town, because there's no reason that Loki's Veil should be enabled in town or in WoW. That's just annoying and a little bit broken, if you ask me. We fixed the Cthulhu sprite in the last stream, which is why we're able to even have Cthulhu right here. Okay, it's like I don't get this about RO either. Look at this. My sound bar is all the way to the very left as it can go without muting it, and it's still super loud. Like I don't get that. Like so I think so most volume sliders. A quick secret about the secret life of devs, right? So most volume sliders they don't scale up sound linearly. They scale sound up in a log base. So basically, the next slider up is actually a more increase than the last slot time you slid it. So as you slide up, it actually starts looking like an exponential curve in terms of sound. Okay, because we perceive sound in doubling units, not in linear units. So that's I think what their slide bar here is. It's in linear sound units. So the sound is increasing with each increment equally. So that's probably why it's even though it's all the way to the very left, it still sounds loud to us. Okay, because it's not decreasing at a decreasing rate or at an increasing rate as we move the slider to the left, and it's not increasing rate when we move to the slider to the right. Okay, but again, this is a really old game. This game was like built in 2002 and then released in like 2004, so everything is really old. And then the client that we're specifically on is called Athena, and Athena is like a copycat code repository of the actual client, which is so the actual game engine is Aegis, but the Aegis code was like leaked in increments and then rebuilt into open source using Athena. So it's a completely different code base. It's just like made to look like it. It's like I kind of say that private servers that use Athena is like imitation tofu turkey, right? It's trying to be a turkey, but it can't fully be turkey. But it's a different substance, but it's still trying to be a turkey. Okay, and using tofu, but it's not bad, right? We got people who are propping all of this up. People like me, people like Kiwi, and other private servers out there. We're building and we're adding code to it a lot. That's why if it seems like Athena is buggy, it's because it is. The game is very old, and basically the older a game gets, the more features it has. The more features it has, the harder it is to maintain, because each feature usually requires someone to build it out and maintain it. But that's been for 30 years now. God knows how many hours went into that. So we try to do what we can. Remember, we're all just like volunteer devs here, right? And as much as we would want RO to be a cash cow, sadly it's not. Right? That's why we all have to get like IRL jobs, and we can't just quit our jobs and just work on the server full time. Even though I want to. I mean, that would be the dream, right? If the server could be self-sustaining to the point where we could just like work on this full time, I think great things would happen. All right, but let's go ahead and update the repositories. I think I've been rambling on for far too long. All right, so what do we? First thing we need to do? We need to actually update our repositories, get the code back up to speed. Now, I don't think any of the big repositories have been updated. Okay, so and if you notice in here, I'm the last one who committed. So I think my code is the most up to date, and everyone else needs to pull from me. Okay, but let's just to be sure. So I'm gonna do a get pull. Get pull is gonna sync me into the cloud. Okay, so let me just turn off the sound here. These guys are gonna be fighting for a while. Like, notice that. Like, Stormy's really going at it, but, I mean, Cthulhu just has so much HP that it doesn't even matter at this point. Alright, let me enter in my password, and then from that, we can then... it should tell me everything's up to date. No, there was... Oh, no, enhanced shackles, that's correct. Alright, let's see what else is here. CD /ERO dev. I'll do a get pull there as well. Alright. And then this is more of serious. So basically, there's two sides to most developments. There's like a front end development, and then there's a back end development. It's kind of like web development, right? You got HTML, CSS, JavaScript on the front end, and then on the back end, you can have whatever programming language you want. It could be JavaScript, it could be Python, it could be C#, Java, whatever. Okay. And it looks like applying changes to elemental armor descriptions. Yep. So it looks like Seer also did some work recently, And my goodness, that storm gust is intense. I'm like, I'd hate to be the one to fight this Stormy Knight. I think I might have made Stormy a little bit too powerful, but we'll see. If enough people complain, that might be just a good testament to nerf it. But we'll see. We'll see how the public receives this. All right, so we just did that. We updated all repositories, and now what we need to do now is basically we need to update the item restrictions table. Basically completely rework it. So basically what needs to happen is that, I don't know what happened to the item restrictions table, but some time ago we did a merge and it completely messed up the item table. So like a bunch of items that shouldn't be restricted, like restrictions, what are item restrictions first of all? What are item restrictions? So item restrictions are like basically, you can't drop it. There's different variations of restrictions. You can't store it. You can't trade it, like etc. etc. You can't. There's many levels of item restrictions. But I mean, if a monster is naturally spawning, right, it should be dropping it should be completely dropping you should be able to drop those items, right? So the theory here is, if a monster naturally spawns, any item it drops should be easily storable, droppable, and tradable. Okay, those are the metrics that we should be caring about. But that's not the case right now. Okay, so let's actually even find where it is that the item restrictions table even is. Okay, so there is an item called a lion's mane, which I removed recently. I think I hear Yuna in the background. Yep, it's Yuna. Look, she's using the new combo monk system. Check this out. Oh, but she's adding in Shura skills. Okay, so wait. So if you guys haven't watched my combo monk rework video, go to the EssenceRO YouTube page. There is a video I made on the rework of the combo monk. Okay, and Yuna's actually really good. She's like Street Fighter level with the combo monks. Okay. All right. I wanted to make combos stronger, but it's because of good players like Yuna, which is why I can't, because she just absolutely goes through the 5-chain combo like in less than a second. Look at this thing. It doesn't look like it right now, but she's doing 4 iterations of chain crush combo. That is just absolutely maddening. Like, I always mess up when I do that, but look at her. That just looks like an auto attack to her. That is nuts. Okay, I like that. That needs to be a thing for MVPing, right? That thing. Oh man, look at this thing. Stormy Knight is definitely gonna win. Cthulhu is like not like. Cthulhu is just like dead, and Stormy is just, he's barely losing much HP there. Oh man, poor thing. Okay. So, yep, he's on the verge of death. And Stormy is like 8 mil HP right now. I mean, but yep. Oh, ow, ow, ow. And Cthulhu's dead. Alright. Ow, 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 ow. Alright, let's summon what is strong against? Alright, so I think Maya would be a good candidate, right? Monster of... Let's do a summon of Maya for 30 minutes. Because Maya's wind, and hopefully her wind powers will stave off the Stormy Knight. Okay. So now it's Stormy, a weakened Stormy, slightly weakened Stormy. Like, Stormy's lost, like, maybe like a third of its HP. Okay. So Maya is gonna go in and ooh, that is, her Arclusus just took a beating. Look at that thing. That's nuts. Okay. And my main man Nick, right? I spin, right? He's telling me Stormy is too strong. We will see. I suspect it is too strong, but I think that's all in the fun, right? Okay, because I can weaken it later on, but I want to make wind armor like a little bit more rare first. Make it kind of like exciting when the first one is dropped for now. All right, so I'm just gonna sit down here, and then I got an unknown item. What was the unknown item? That's weird. All right, I should investigate that. So that should be like list items. Whatever. All right. So let's go back to this item restrictions thing. I did make an update recently, so I did edit the item restriction. So for example, made it so Syphilid Manto was like storable, tradable, all that good stuff. Yellow Bandana, Gigantic Majestic Goats, and the Dragon's Mane. But let's do that for all items now. Let's just stop doing the Band-Aid approach and go all in with this fix. So I'm going to go ahead and find this first. So basically, what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to go into the folder. Alright, so CD, and I'm going to CD, basically, CD means to change the current directory, and the dot 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 means to go out of this folder. So I'm going to go out of this folder, go into a different folder, and then it's in a place called DB, and I think it's in the folder called pre-re. So pre-re right here. And then I think from there I can just open it in the gosh darn Explorer. And then from that, let's look at it in there. So, what is the thing called? Item trade. Okay, so this is the thing we care about, right? So let's set IntelliSense to JavaScript. Ooh, look at that pretty purple. Okay, and from that, I think select color scheme. I think we can change from various different color schemes. You guys should tell me what looks better in the chat so I can know for next stream. I know there are some of you who are colorblind and things like that. I don't want to be accommodating for that, but I usually like to go with the Monokai, but there's another thing. Let me just install another theme here. I think it's called Neon that I also like to install there. So I'm going to install a theme called Neon. And then from that I can do select color scheme of Neon. There we go. Behold! No, actually, no. The red is probably worse for your eyes. Okay, so let's just actually go back to what it was, which is the Monokai. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to basically let's write some pseudocode first. What are the steps so the goal is fix the item trade.txt. And basically what we need to do is we need to scan through item trade.txt. Okay, step 1. And then we need to find items that are naturally dropped by, or that are dropped by monsters that spawn naturally. By monsters that spawn naturally. Then remove those items, okay? So that's the first step. So we need to scan through the item trade database. We need to find the items that are dropped by monsters that naturally spawn. Then remove those items. But we have to go back even further because we need to find the monsters that naturally spawn first. So basically that's step 1. Find a list, or actually let's see, get a list of monsters that naturally spawn. Okay, that's the first step. Now we got to go through and say, okay, link those monsters that spawn with their drops. Okay, and only from that can we get a list of items that are dropped by monsters that naturally spawn. All right, so it's a 6-step process is what we're looking at here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start a brand new Python script to do this for me. So I'm going to go. So I have another repository. This one's a public one. It's called Essence Restoration. And I'm going to pull this repository too because I have many computers, many laptops that I work out of. I just want to make sure that, oh, yep, everything's up to date. So I have the most current of the code. So and then in this script, let's see here. And if you want to know where this repository is, it's in github.com/phuc/essence restoration. All right, I can like post this up here real quick. All right, this is the link to it if you want to follow along later, if you're an aspiring developer or something like that. Okay, let's actually see if we're still on Twitch. Okay, let's play the video here. Aha! Okay, cool. So this is the public repository. This is the repository I've made basically in the past to recreate the old EssenceRO database. All right, so this is me in the folder itself. I'm just going to copy one of these Python script files that I made earlier. Okay. and from that I can just take it over and rename it, right? So I can rename this file. What do I want to call this? Let's call it clean item restrictions. Okay. From monster spawns. I think that's a much better way of saying it. All right, so I'm going to save it like that, and then it was created. Okay. I think the gray might be harder to read, so let's see if we can change the color scheme here a little bit. Whatever. Yeah, there we go. So right now it's March. It's 17 and it's 2018, not 17. All right, so we're in Python version 3.2. This will be version 1.1. Okay, and then the purpose. There we go. This is where we can post the goal fix. Okay, and we can actually just post all of this in here now. All right, there we go. So now that we have the pseudocode, and then this is everything here. So this is my website. All right, so from here I can delete everything else because I don't really need any of the rest of this stuff. Okay, all right, here we go. So here's the script that I'm going to use, and that is its main purpose. And then I'm going to save it as such. Nope, this is the name of the file, so I'll save it as that. Okay, and then now what I can do is I can then add this to a git commit. So git add, git commit, get initialization of the cleanup script. Okay, and then I can do a push here, and it's going to ask me to enter in a username. Okay, and what we can do now is once it's pushed to the cloud, right? This is my cloud repository, and by the way, if you guys want to follow along, you can. This is a public repository. I linked the link earlier. And if you don't know what the link is, it's right here. Feel free to pause the video so you can get that in as well. So if you look at this repository and then go to the commits, you can actually follow along what I'm doing. Like, so notice that March 17th, I just did this initialization of the cleanup script, and then what this shows you is the code I just inserted into there. Okay, so there it goes. So it looks like something was copied as well. This was copied, so I can actually get rid of that and then just say removed duplicate clone. So get diff will show that a bunch of code got removed. That's just because it was just I deleted the duplicate. Git add, git commit, remove the duplicated file. All right, and then I can do a git push to this as well, and then you can also see once you go into the commit logs, you will be able to see that change as well. So if you go back to the repository, click on the commits, and then if I refresh it now, I think it takes like, oh, I haven't logged in yet, so that's why it hasn't pushed anything to the cloud. So what I can do now is if I load it up again, there we go, I removed the duplicated file. So there, you see the red? Red means it was removed line by line. All right, so now that we got all of that administrative nonsense out of the way, let's actually start some code. All right, so where exactly is this, right? So we need to go ahead and get that as well now. So let's start the initialization of the script. So usually, if you come from like an object-oriented style of programming, you know that there's normally like a main function that is called. So that basically executes everything. Everything will execute from the main function. So I'm gonna tell it to execute the main function right here, but we don't have the main function yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and define a main function. So define main. Okay. It will not take in any variables or anything like that. Okay. All right. So main. What is the main purpose of the function? The main purpose of the function is to do these things in this many steps. Okay. So I'm going to post this here. Okay. So basically, this is the pseudocode step by step of what I actually need to do to make this script successful. Okay. Okay. So this will be 1, 2, 3. These steps have to be executed in order because they're dependent on each other. Okay. So 6. All right, so these are the steps that need to be taken, and I'm going to comment them out because and this is how I like to do things. All right, so now that they're commented out, the code won't read it, but it's for me to know exactly what I need to do step by step. Okay, so from here, and then I like to also encapsulate these in boxes here and boxes here. Okay, so now that I have a better picture of what needs to be done, I've laid out my code base step by step here. What needs to be done. All right, so I'm going to save this now. All right, so the pseudocode is written. This is the blueprint from which I am going to start making my other functions. Okay, first thing I do is get a list of monsters that spawn naturally. Okay, where the heck do we do that? So I think in the repository itself, there is a folder. I think it might be easier to do it in here. Okay, CD of EssenceRO Athena. I think there's a folder called NPC, and in that folder, I think if I ls, it will list the stuff. I can do a CD of pre-re. If I do an ls again, I can do a CD of, I think, mobs. That's where I want to be. Nope, it's not in mobs. Interesting. Where are monster spawns? Let's actually find it instead of actually try to guess where it is. So let's find a random monster in a random database. So let's do, well, since we're here, we can go 0. Oh, I'm dead. Where did the MVPs go? All right. Oh, Stormy lives. I guess my either despawned or she got destroyed by the Stormy. All right. So monster info. Stormy Night. All right. So where does Stormy Night spawn? So 1, 2, 5, 1. Okay. So from this, I can do a complete search for 1, 2, 5, 1, comma, and I'm going to turn this thing off. This is called a regular expression. I don't want to do that right now. Alright, so it's going to go search through, and it's in the, okay, so it's in the mob database, of course, but the mob database only links the information about the monster. It doesn't actually, it's not, the spawn table is actually somewhere else. So the no XP drop, okay, so I just removed it from there. Notice that's in the Adbird table. Okay, that's the item of the blue box. If you keep going down, we should be able to find it sometime, right? So these are the Stormy Night skills themselves, the pet DDB, the blue box, the gift box, the base job level, mob boss table. So we're in the renewal tables now, okay? So I think we're getting closer. Okay, so the MVP room, the disguise room, minigame room, okay, the events room. Aha. I think. Nope, those are the event monsters. Alright, so where exact Xmas dungeon, there we go. So it's in a folder called EssenceRO NPC pre-re mobs dungeons and Xmas dungeon. Alright, so this is where all the spawn tables are. So I think if I open this in the folder, these are all the spawn tables. So the spawn tables are separated out sadly, by mops. So this is like the sunken ship, right? So Drake should be in here, I think. If we go out here as well, we can also probably find that. So in the mob table itself, there's fields, right? And in fields, there's also dungeons. Okay. So we're going to have to build a function that will parse one of these files. All right, so notice that we're going to have to scan through and get all of these monsters, and particularly what we are looking for is this number right here. That's the mob ID itself. Okay, so we basically have to open this file, read it line by line, and say we want to grab this one number. Okay. Okay, so notice that I don't know if you can see it clearly, but if I mouse over this, okay. And because the highlighted blue is really obnoxious, I'm going to change it. So notice that there's these dashes, right? There is these dashes. This dash represents a tab, and this circle represents a space, right? So if I do 4 spaces, I can count 4 dots, right? But if you see here, I see this is one continuous tab. If I tab again, you can see a break. Oh, so notice that if I can set the tabs to using spaces or tabs to using something else. So tab to tab. So notice that there's a break here, right? So you can see 2 tabs are right here. All right, so now notice that I need to break this up so that if I break up the tab, I should be able to find this guy right here as the first item. Okay, and once I learn how to parse one file, I'll add up all the documented monsters into a dictionary. And once it's in the dictionary, what I can then do is read through every file. Basically, build a loop that says loop through all of these files, and then parse me some monsters. Right? That should be that. Okay. Can you please put the video? I'm not able to see it on Twitch. Interesting. Oh, why can't you see it on Twitch? Should I broadcast from YouTube Live or Facebook Live next time? Okay, let's talk to Ricky about that. And do not fret, the video will be on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube afterwards. Okay? Alright, so what we're going to do now, alright, is first build that script. So, I'm going to take the Xmas dungeon script as my first test script. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Copy of the file path. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is basically, under this will be my initial repository. So basically, file path, let's see, monster spawn table file path. Okay, so from that, I will set this into a variable. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, so then first, oh, actually, what is it erroring here? What is it saying that it doesn't like me doing right here? It says Unicode escape code can't decode bytes. Okay. So notice that. See this forward slash right here? It doesn't like that because a forward slash in programming, it means that you're trying to escape this quote. So what I need to do is I need to, for everywhere you see a quote, change it to reverse the backslash basically. Forward slash into a backslash. So there we go. So that fixed that. So next thing we got to do is we got to open this file. So Python, how you open a file in Python is you do a with command, with open file will equal this file path right here, and the mode, right? Because you can open the file in a few modes. You can open it in read-only mode, you can open it in write mode, or both. I'm going to open it in read mode because I don't want to mess with anything. As, let's call this inf, okay? So basically, anytime I want to refer to this file that's open, I will call it as inf. So from this, I can say that for the file writer, for each line, not for LinkedIn, for each line in, okay, the file that is opened up, I want you to print me the line, right? That's simple enough. So if I run this right now, okay, so if I go in here, I open this containing folder, and then I decide that I want to do a git bash inside of here. No, let's do a PowerShell inside of here. Okay. There we go. And I basically just saved my Python script, right? So if I Control S, there we go. So I Control S my Python script. So now what I can do is I can do Python, right? Clean item restriction monsters by. So I'm basically telling it to run this file that I just wrote right here. And what this file is going to do is it's going to take in this file path, open this file, and then for every line in that file, I want you to print it to the front end. So notice that if I print it right now, you can see that everything is inside of here. Good. Okay. Now I want to grab each monster line. Okay. So what did I just do now? So basically, in this step, I opened the file, and now what I'm doing is looping through the file. And now what I really want to do, instead of print it, because I know the printing was just like for diagnostic to know that I'm inside of the file. Now what I can do is grab each monster line. Okay. So how do I know what is a monster line? So a monster line is a line with a monster in it, of course. So notice that it starts with a map. Okay, and then it goes out to a digit, and then monster, and then the name of the monster, and then that. Okay, so I'm going to use, in programming, it's called a regular expression, which is this is how computers search for things, and I'm going to see if the line matches exactly what I needed it to. Okay, so if I go through here, so notice that I can follow through and say I want to look for in the beginning of the line. Okay, so the beginning of the line is represented by this caret. But before that, let's start off with so digit represents, for example, numbers. So slash D. Okay, so slash W represents word. Okay, okay. So and then you can also specify like A through Z here, right? And you can say that, hey, I want any letters A through Z, and then I want you to find that for me. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to identify these maps, followed by a digit, followed by a digit, followed by a tab. Okay. So if I do slash T here, slash T represents the tab. Notice all the tabs are shown up. If I type in monster here, notice it's going to find the line. Notice if I do a slash D here, it's going to find the digit. And if I do another slash D here, it's going to also do a comma of the digit. Okay. And then I'm going to do another comma, and then I'm going to do, the map is the one that gets a little bit tricky. Okay. Because maps can have a letter, or it doesn't need to have a letter too. Okay. And again, I added a caret to specify that I don't want, or that I want to start, the line to start off with a word. Okay. And then we go into monster, we go into a tab, and now we can go into the wildcard character. Well, let's do another word. Slash W. Okay. And then I want at least one there, and then I'll do another tab. Okay. And notice that this is a compound word right now, so notice that Christmas cookie in this case are not going to be grabbed here because there's a space here, and I'm violating my own rules. So, or a space. Okay. So notice I can have a combination of spaces or words here. I put that in parentheses here. And now I can specify I want one of each or one of not. Okay. Followed by a tab here. Oh. Alright, so that's that. And then, what else does it want from me? It wants numbers, right? So slash D of at least 3 to 5 digits of numbers. Okay. Followed by another digit. Okay, at least 1. Okay, and then followed by a comma. Does it actually have a comma? Oh, you don't need to have a comma for this next part, which is weird. Okay, yeah, that is weird, huh? Because you can just end it. All right, but yeah, I guess I think that should be the end of the regular expression. So the Python matching here is what we're gonna use. Hold on just a second. All right. And then if I look through one of my older code repositories, let's see if I can open up one. There we go. I did already have some code I wrote in here that actually detects this for me. So notice that the item regular expression, okay, and then it's compiled. And now I want to find this line called is match here. So I'm going to reuse some of the code I wrote in another script to basically port this over. So I don't have to do work that I've already done. So basically I'm going to start here, which is now that I have this code. So this code right here is the item regular expression, but I've just written myself a little bit of a pseudo quick and dirty, okay, regular expression here, okay. Now I don't think I need to go into the level of depth that I've gone here. Okay, so notice that what I'm trying to not do is, like, if somebody went in and did this, this is basically making it so the computer doesn't read this one line. It's called commenting it out. Okay, so that's what I want to avoid. So basically, this is overkill right here, and I'm going to save a lot of processing if I tell it to not go to that level of detail. Okay, actually I don't even think I even need to grab to the monster level. There we go. That's all I needed right there. So notice, so notice that, good thing I checked, because notice that this boss monster here isn't listed in here as well. So I think I need to go back even further. Okay. And actually even further than that. So notice that now I'm going to even go further and even isolate my stuff even more. Because I just need to detect that, hey, does this line kind of match what I'm looking for? Okay, so I'm looking for a word followed by a comma, followed by a digit, followed by a digit. Okay, and these guys satisfied my criteria. And notice the rest of the file is left out, right? The rest of the file is not highlighted. I don't care about this other junk. Okay, I only care about the monster lines themselves. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paste this guy right in here. So that's my search function. Okay, so this is monster regular expression. Okay, and then so I want to grab. So basically this is the search index. Okay, and so I'm running a function here called regular expression compile, and that's actually in a package called regular expression. Okay, so from import compile and match. Okay. I can do that, or I can just let's just import everything. I don't know what else I might use from this package. Okay. A package is basically code that other people will have written, and that's just something that can be done to basically enhance myself without actually coding more than I need to. Because someone else has probably coded something, and I want to stand on the shoulder of giants. Now, I'm already so notice this is line to open up a file, but I'm already in a file, so I can get rid of this. And this is to open the file path. I don't need that either. Okay. All right. So. And then here's the loop for the line, but notice I'm already in the loop for the line. And notice that once you're in a loop, the memory starts back over every time. And I'm declaring this again inside the loop, which is not good practice because basically it's gonna go ahead and create a variable, which is basically initiate something in the memory, fill it into memory, and then remove it once it goes through a line. So I want to declare this outside. Okay, so basically this will be a monster search function. Okay, so now that my computer understands what a monster line looks like, I can then specify that, okay, and then this will be called isMonster. Okay, so this regular expression, if I call it, it's going to check for this syntax, which is, are you a monster? So isMonster, okay, dot match line. If it does match a monster, I want you to print that line. Okay, so hopefully now if I do this, notice that this thing right here shouldn't be here, right? Anything that isn't a monster shouldn't be printed. So I'm going to run the script again, and notice it's only grabbing the monsters this time. It's completely ignoring everything else. Okay, that's good. So we are exactly where we want to be. And now what I want to do is I want to do what's called a line split by tab. Okay, so so in this line, okay. So inside of this line, what I want to do is, all right, so line dot split, and then the split itself will be on a certain character. So a certain character, you noticed that earlier I saw in here that things were delimited by tab, right? I want to split the string at every time I see a tab so that I'm isolating these kind of variables right here. Okay, so I want to say on the tab, I want you to split, and this will be called the line split. Okay, and the line split is going to split it into a list. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want the third list. So this will be list 0, or the item 0 in list in that list. 2 or 0, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so I want to grab the third item in that list. So line split of 3 is the monster ID. Actually, they call it the mob ID, and I think that's shorter too. Okay, so line ID. So I can then just print specifically the monster numbers. All right, so notice the monster numbers come with some extra baggage here. Okay, so I can go ahead and remove that as well by splitting by the comma. You see the comma here? So I can go ahead and split the line even further. Okay, and do a comma. Okay, so the line split of the third line split line here. And then I can split that even further, so splitting at the comma. So once I'm at the comma level, I want to grab the very first element of the comma. And then from that, I can then hopefully just get the monster ID. There's no attribute called split. Oh, because it is, I see. So right now I'm calling the entire list when I just need to call the third element of that list. And there we go. These are the monster IDs. Okay, so that's one file. Okay, that is one file. So basically, I need to write a function now, or I need to add this to a dictionary now. So basically, I'm going to get a spawn DB, okay, and it's just going to be a list of monsters that spawn, okay. And actually, while I'm here, let's just create a better dictionary. Let's start counting up how much spawn. Although that's going to be hard to do because they don't spawn a different. Like, notice that this is 20 instant spawn. 20 Marins will instantly spawn on this map. But notice it gets a little bit more complicated, right? If you're like, for example, a Stormy, right? But hey, while we're here, let's just grab the second element as 2, and we'll say that as the spawn count. Okay. So if I go into the first element, I'll grab the spawn count. So mob ID. So spawn count will be the next one. And just for a diagnostic, I can print this out and say, I want to show me, basically, okay, I want you to show me basically what is the mob and how much of it does it spawn. Okay. Okay, and so there we go. Oh, nope. Quote, quote, quote. Actually, I need to do a plus here with a string, so I'm going to concatenate a little bit. Because these are numbers, you have to convert them into strings if you're going to print them. Okay. And I'm going to add a quote here, and a quote here. Okay. And then from that, I can remove the rest of these lines right here. And then I can add a plus here to say that I want this concatenated as well. Okay. Alright. So now I can go in here and print this, right? So the spawn count. Oh, I forgot to add like maybe a tab or something here, just so like it doesn't like completely. There we go. So notice that mob ID this spawns this much, this spawns this much, and this is the general way I want to do it. Okay. So from that, I think I can just go ahead and add this to the spawn DB now. And in the spawn DB, I can have, so this represents a dictionary. So basically, instead of printing it out now, I can add these to the dictionary. So spawn DB will be like the spawn DB. If I'm going to add the mob ID as the key, and the key will equal plus, right? So that's telling you whatever number's already in there, add to it. Basically, so if you see Marin spawn on another map, like say 5, I should see 25. 5 plus 20, you know, which should be the total spawn count of the Marin through all maps. Okay. So from that, I can do adding the spawn count. But that's if the mob already exists in the dictionary, right? Right. So if mob ID is in the spawn DB, right, this is what you do. If it is not, like if this is the first time the mob is ever seen in the spawn dictionary, okay, spawn DB of the mob ID will just simply equal and become the spawn count. Okay. And then while I'm done with this, then I can just do a print. Right at the very end, out of the loop. Once it's done building me this spawn DB, I can just go ahead and go in and build that. Okay. Why is this error here? This is undefined name mob. Oh, mob ID, not mob. There we go. So now everything should be fine and dandy. Now, why is it upset with me here? Oh, because I did mob DB instead of mob ID. Okay. So, there we go. Here's my dictionary. That looks pretty good so far. So notice that monster 1242 spawns 20 times. Alright, so that's 1. Okay, so normally this is where I would write a function that says return the spawn DB. Okay. Now, this is also where I want to remove this particular spawn DB because I want to make it so that I want to make a function now that goes ahead and finds this for me every time. So I'm going to create a different function now. So normally to create a function, you do a define, okay, and this function, what is this function going to do? It's going to parse a file, parse spawn file, okay, and it's going to return me the monster. So basically, it's going to do, get monster spawns from file. Okay, basically that's what it's going to do. And then it's going to take in a parameter. Okay, so I need a spawn DB. Okay, so that way I can remove this spawn DB. So I can pass in my own spawn DB and keep going every time. Okay, and then basically what it does is it returns the spawn DB again after either having added to it or appended to it. Okay, and I want these things in here as well. So not just that, but that as well. Okay, so I just built my own function in here, and now I need to call the function from here. Okay. Oh. And I should also, while I'm in here, I should grab this file as well. Okay, so basically it's going to take another parameter, which is the file itself. And then, okay, so once it's in here, all right, so this is the function. So now that my main function is now separated, okay, I can call this monster file right here. Now, I want to call this outside the declaration of the location of my file. Okay, so this is called get monster spawns from file, and I also want a file path is equal to something. Okay, so then I can go ahead and basically make this the function call, and then this is where I can pass it the file path, right? The file path is that, and then I can declare my spawn DB out here. Okay, so this spawn DB will persist because when the function ends, everything basically is going to die. Okay, and I want it to live on. Okay, so now that that's done, I can go ahead and isolate this function away. Okay, so normally I'm not in the main function. This is a brand new declaration of a new, basically, function. Okay. Okay, so what is it saying? Unexpected indent. Okay, I think I want everything to be in here. That's why. Aha, there we go. So, and I think it's upset with me because I didn't add an extra line. And what is it upset with me here? Monster spawn DB and file path. All right, the file path is actually changed to this, and the spawn DB is actually changed. Actually, the spawn DB is fine. All right, and then the spawn DB file path is now the file path. All right, cool. So if I call this function, or if I call this script now, it should do exactly what it's been doing for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Aha, nothing happened. All right, and why did nothing happen? Oh, because I removed the print function. All right, so if I say this spawn DB is going to be reloaded again and stuffed and updated. Okay, so I do print the spawn DB. Okay, there we go. Everything is working according to plan. All right, so let's create a list of files. All right, so yeah, I can go ahead and basically go in and basically say for every file in here, I want you to go ahead and build me something from that. Okay, but I want to make this script usable for other users as well. So basically, what if there was a file in here that we didn't want to parse, right? Which is where I'm going to keep going in the future. Okay. So what I want to do is basically I want to explicitly, rather than setting a loop that says go into this folder, find me every file, parse every file, and give me the, no, I don't want that, because in the future I want to exclude certain files or include certain files that aren't in here yet. So what I want to do is I want to actually make it completely explicit and actually state which files I want and which files I don't want. And I think if I open up the PowerShell here, I can just make a quick and dirty list. Oh, I accidentally opened it in Studio. I hate Visual Studio so much sometimes. All right, so there we go. I think I can do an ls here. So ls will go ahead and list out all the files in there. So I can just do an ls ls of the file names, and then I want to send that to something called filename.txt. Okay. And if I open this file that I just made called, I think filenames.txt. Stop it, Visual Studio. I don't like you. Okay, I'm going to close out this VS thing right here that I just added. So basically, what did it do here? So file, could have sworn I just made something called filename.txt. There we go, filename.txt. If I open this up, this is a list of basically all of the really cool files in here. So basically, this is all the spawn maps. If I isolate them, okay, and this is me isolating them, I can then say, find me all the txts, and well, maybe I don't want to do that. All right, find me all the txts, and I want to delete all the trailing spaces. All right, so that's the files themselves in the dungeon folder. Okay, so basically this is in the dungeons folder, and then from that, I also want, let's see here, what else is in here? Slash dungeon. Let's see what actually it says. So I need these forward slashes right here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and grab this guy right there. Okay, and I can copy him all the way across, right? Dungeon. Okay, and then I can turn all of this into a string with a comma attached to it. From this, I can then add it to a list. Aha, okay. So these are all the dungeons. Okay, these dungeon file names. I need to do the same thing. So I'm gonna, before I go out, I'm gonna delete this file because it's not pertinent to the repository to keep it in there. I'm gonna do the same thing for the fields map. Okay. I opened in Visual Studio again. No. No, I should just uninstall Visual Studio. I don't use it anymore. Alright, there we go. Now it's added this stupid Visual Studios folder. Alright, there we go. Now what I can do is open in PowerShell. That's what I wanted to begin with. I can close all these other PowerShells now because I don't need them. And I can do the same thing. ls, list all the files. ls goes into filenames.txt. Okay, and if I open up the filenames.txt, there we go. The alphabet is very hard sometimes. Okay. What I want here is I want to vertically grab basically all of this stuff. And I want to throw it into a new thing. There we go. I can close that out now, and I can actually delete it too while I'm in here. Alright, so let's find all the txts. And then, there we go. And I can delete all the trailing spaces. Alright. And these are in the field maps instead of dungeon maps, right? So I can then go and say fields, and then did I do a forward slash before? Nope, I just did it that. So I can do quote, quote, comma, comma, and then I can paste that in here as well. So these are all the monster spawn tables on our server, I believe. Okay. And then I can create a function in here. So basically this is what we called monster spawn tables will equal that. And then I can create a get function in here. Basically it says defined a new function that says get monster spawn table. Okay. And in here will be the entirety of it. Okay, it's going to initiate the list of all the monster spawn tables in here. Okay. And then what it's going to do is return it. So basically, return monster spawn tables. Okay, that's all it's going to do. So if I call this function, okay, and then I put it into a variable called monster tables. Okay, actually let's call them monster spawn files. There we go. That's the so. And then for diagnostics, I can see if it works. I can say for each file, for each file name in spawn files, I want you to print me the name of the file itself, and hopefully I should get a long list of names in there. So if I can